Yo, what's going on, YouTube? Charific here, coming at you with a requested movie analysis, which technically isn't a movie. We were made aware that apparently there was an uncut 10 minutes, further detailing Mewtwo's origin story that was cut from the North American release of the Mewtwo Strikes Back movie that released. So we're going to be talking about that today, because it is part of the movie and it is needed backstory. So, without further ado, I'm still joined by Mr. Wannabe Reviewer. Introduce
Hello,
yourself.
everyone. Hey there. Hello. We are going to look at this little prequel origin story thing because, I had honestly totally forgotten that it existed. And then I saw that someone commented on that first video. They're like, yeah, what about like the Mewtwo origin story? And I think, oh, that's right. That was a thing. That was kind of funny. So we're like, yeah, we should just probably go over that real quick. So
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I had no idea that it existed because like every time I watched the movie, it only started with, Mewtwo when he's about to break out. So it was a nice thing for me to watch too, because I have heard about it like years ago, but I forgot. So it was nice watching it and actually coming to understand Mewtwo's true origin story. So let's just dive right in. So the short starts off with the speaker, who we recognize as Dr. Fuji from the movie, and he's talking about their expedition to find this ancient civilization that worshipped Mew. And he also confirms that Giovanni is funding the mission because he was interested in Dr. Fuji's research regarding cloning. And Dr. Fuji's even aware that Giovanni only wants him to make a powerful Pokemon for him to control, but he also realizes that if he wants to, well, I'll get into that later, but if he wants to accomplish his own personal goals, he needs Giovanni's help. So he has to, basically do what he wants. So they're examining this little tomb, if you want to call it that, and then, Mew appears behind them, then flies off, and then they find a piece of Mew's DNA that they say is a fossil, it's an eyelash. And Fuji is hoping that it is actually Mew's DNA so that he can actually have a Pokemon strong enough to survive the cloning process. And he says he's interested in restoring life. And then, we see a montage of the scientists working, trying to get Mew's DNA extracted from the eyelash. And then we see a tiny Mewtwo. He's awakening, I guess, if you'll call it that. And he's, starting to question who he is and where he is and all that. And ironically, as he's questioning his own being as it is, the scientists aren't they still think that he doesn't have a consciousness yet, but that his other vitals are normal. So it's kind of weird because he should be conscious at this point. And then Mewtwo is still questioning his situation and what's happening. Then he hears a little girl's voice off in the distance. And then a girl manifests and says that Mewtwo is a Pokemon and she's a person. Well, she said that she's the person and that he's a Pokemon, and then Mewtwo starts to question, what he is. And then the girl's like, you know what? I don't care. It doesn't really matter. And then she says that Mewtwo, if he's here, he's just like the rest of them. And then Bulbasaur, Squirtle, and Charmander appear. They phase into existence, I guess, in Mewtwo's head. And
something that I had noticed is that in our other part, you had mentioned that that Bulbasaur, Venusaur, and Charizard that appear that are clones, they're really powerful because they have scars.
Yeah.
And so apparently those aren't scars. As we can see, those are just weird. What would you call it? It's just like because they're clones, it's just like a weird side effect that they have weird markings, apparently.
Yeah, that's what I should. Yeah, I was just joking about the whole scars thing. But it's just like, I guess, how would you say that? Like, a side effect of the cloning process, that I should say. And I find it interesting. I'm glad that you brought this up because Mewtwo, his Blastoise, Venusaur, and Charizard had those exact same abnormalities on their body as well. So I think that's a cool little thing because even though, well, we'll get into it later, but Mewtwo doesn't remember what happened. But I guess subconsciously, as he was making his own clones, he decided to I guess because we know that he perfected cloning because no other clones had the like abnormalities, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so it's almost like he put them on there purposefully. Which I don't know, maybe his like subconscious was like, huh, you know what? This seems familiar, or as if I've known Pokemon like this before, so let me make these clones similar to what I remember. So that is kind of cool, and I'm glad that you did bring that up because I forgot about it. Let's see, where did I leave off? Oh yeah, the scientists realize that Mewtwo and Amber are communicating with each other, and that all the clones are also communicating, and that it must be through telepathy. And then it cuts, and then we see Amber and all the other Pokemon like flying over a town, and Amber
Oh no,
describe.
no, no, no.
Wait, what?
Refer to her by her real name. It's not Amber.
Oh yes, sorry, Amber 2,
Squirtle 2,
yeah, Squirtle 2.
Charizard 2, and Bulbasaur 2, which
Yes,
that's where it gets so stupid.
yeah.
2, I can like maybe understand, but the fact that they call each of these poor creatures 2 after the name, especially the little girl, is super
Hmm.
screwed up.
Yeah, it definitely
Too.
is, and we also see it later as well. Like I guess the break in like, I guess like, how do I want to put it? Like the scientists, like their own views, like they view it as an experiment, but to them they're actually alive. So, and you'll hear it like they'll refer to Mewtwo as it, or they'll say, "Oh, the experiments, oh, they're dying just like all the other ones." So it's just like a break in, I guess, their humanity, maybe, because to them it's just a science experiment. So, so yeah, I, and it is nice that you brought that up because we see that from the beginning to the end that these creatures, as they call them, are just purely an experiment and nothing more. So Amber too. Oh yeah, that's right. She even says that all of them are just copies, but she still considers herself to be just Amber. And I'll get into that later with and the links to that. So it's shown that Dr. Fuji is trying to bring his daughter back to life, and then we see a flashback. We see him in his basement lab, and he has all of his equipment, and then this woman who we'll assume is his wife appears while he's doing his research. And Dr. Fuji says that, oh, I have Amber's consciousness right here, so we can bring her back. But his wife just sounds horrified and is like, hey, you can't bring her back. But Dr. Fuji, he's just so grief stricken with what happened. He's like, no, it's possible, and that cloning may be an option to bring their daughter back. And then it cuts again, fades away, and then we see a note from his presumed wife, along with what I'm also assuming is a house key and her wedding band, signifying that she's done, she's leaving him. And I guess like we hear her voice like over the scene, and I guess it's supposed to be part of her note, and she says that she loved the daughter just as much as he did, but Amber's not coming back. There's no way to bring her back, and she can't keep watching him try to do it because that's got to be just heart-wrenching for her too, to see that instead of moving on, I guess if you can say, he's just still stuck with, I need to bring my daughter back, which is just his own grief process, which I can't say that there's any way that that's possible to do this in real life. But we do see that, like, the parents, which is why, like, after a child dies, statistically, there's a higher chance of the parents getting divorced because they have different ways of grieving. Like, and we can see that the wife, she appears to be that, she's still grief stricken, but she wants to move on and not focus so much on the loss of the daughter, whereas Dr. Fuji is trying all he can to keep her alive. Even going so far as to contain her consciousness, which I want to see how he managed to do that. But in real life, we see that, like, some parents, they'll want to move on, but other parents will keep the child's room the exact same way, not touch anything, But so we can just see the different levels of managing their grief. But it becomes too much for his wife, and then she leaves. And then we see Mewtwo. Wait. Give me 1 second. Yes, the flashback ends with Dr. Fujin saying that he'll do anything to get his daughter back. And we see
Are
that.
we still watching Pokemon?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
so
You're not.
dark. It's like, wait, we're still watching Pokemon? What?
Yeah, like honestly, I can see why they would want to cut this out because this is the first Pokemon movie, and they don't know if like how other countries are going to respond to the moral questions going on, such as cloning and creating life, and literally contain.
Depression, child
Yeah,
death.
yeah, like there's a lot going on in this movie that I think that they definitely strayed away from. um, and then we see that Mewtwo, he's getting stronger. You know, their experiment is doing well. The research is working. And Dr. Fuji says that he'll use the knowledge that he's gained to bring back his daughter. And then we see that Amber and all the other, I guess, clones of the Pokemon, the copies, are flying through over a town now. And Amber describes it as her remember place, which I don't know why, but it just sounds so sad to hear her call it her remember place, like her memories that she has, and just her like reliving it. And then Mewtwo's asking questions like, "Oh, what is this? Oh, this is the sun. This is the wind. This is the moon." And then we see
Basically, I would say
Yes,
basically what they seem to explain is that because Mewtwo, Squirtle, Charmander, and Bulbasaur, weird because you think Mewtwo would also have memories of maybe his time as Mew or whatever. For whatever
yeah,
reason he doesn't. But yeah, basically what they explain is that these Pokemon, they don't have any prior memories,
mm-hmm,
but Amber does from when
yes,
she was like alive, her original self.
yeah,
So she's using like her memories to give them a
mm-hmm,
glimpse into like what the world is. And yeah,
yes,
you're right. Like that part's really sad because it wasn't even her life. It was like her
yeah,
original self.
mm-hmm,
But she's saying like this is where I used to live and this is what a city's like and that's the sun and everyone's just hanging out and like learning and really depressing, honestly.
yeah. And then we have, I guess, the climax of the short because we see, like just like Marvel, Thanos snaps and then Charmander starts to fade away from existence, and that hits me especially hard because it's a Charmander. And then it cuts back to the scientists, and then they're like, "Oh, well, he's dying. It's not the first time it's happened." They're very nonchalant about it, which again shows the break in the moral scope that they have because Charmander, he has no idea what's happening. We can see like visually that he's disturbed by it, whereas they're just moving along, and it's just it just again just shows that they don't realize that the clones view themselves as alive and that they are actually experiencing life. So that's kind of sad, not kind of sad, very sad. And then the other Pokemon also start to fade away too, and the other scientists just look at it as another failure. But then something that we don't expect is Amber's consciousness also begins to fade away, but she's holding on longer than the other Pokemon, it appears. And Mewtwo, he's realizing that he's losing the only other beings that he's ever interacted with. Like they're essentially his friends. Like he doesn't really call them friends, but they are his friends. They've lived together for who knows how long. And then Mewtwo starts to cry, and then Amber said, this is why they should have kept the short in, because Amber recalls a story that her dad told her saying, that when Pokemon cry, their tears are filled with life. And then that would have linked back really well with Ash's predicament and how the Pokemon tears actually brought him back to life. And then Mewtwo, he's experiencing sadness for the first time, and Amber says that she has to go. Mewtwo says don't go, but she tells him not to be sad because Mewtwo is alive and life is wonderful, which is amazing because even with their narrow viewing of life, like their narrow scope of experiencing life, Amber still knows that life is amazing and wonderful, combined with what she's experienced in the research lab and her own memories and what she's trying to share with the other Pokemon. So I think that was pretty cool. And So she fades away, and then Mewtwo at this point is he questions the reason why he's sad and the tears, and he wants Amber to come back. And while this is happening, his brainwaves start to become uncontrollable. And Dr. Fuji says, again, in another break from just what's going on, says that Mewtwo is getting too upset and to erase his memory of what happened. And they do it. It works. And, the other scientists are like, oh, hey, everything is fine now. But Dr. Fuji, I guess coming back into reality, says, no, everything is not okay because Amber is now gone forever. Because that consciousness of his daughter was all that he had. And he was going to use whatever research from Mewtwo to, I guess, make her a new body and to put her consciousness back in that body so he could have his daughter back again. And then we see Mewtwo back alone in his head, and we do see him, like, I guess, aging, if that's what you'll call it, while he's in stasis. And as he's aging, I guess we're meant to assume that he keeps having these memories of what's happened. And he says that he still remembers something or someone. And then, I guess when he's an adult Mewtwo, he remembers Amber's final words, which were, life is wonderful. But then his final words are, but he doesn't know why. So, there we go. And I guess piggybacking off of the ending, we can see just how losing Amber did affect him, because he did, I guess it was so traumatic that he still had the memory regardless of them thinking that they erased it completely, and that led him into becoming what he is and questioning why is he alive and what is this, what's my purpose. So before we go into, I guess, our opinions on whether this is good or bad, do you have any opinions, wannabe reviewer, about any good things or bad things that you want to bring up?
Yeah, I was just saying, I don't know, this whole origin of Mewtwo prequel thing, I'm just so mixed on it, because
yeah.
on the one hand, it's totally understandable why they cut it out, because it's super dark. You're watching this and it's this is a Pokemon movie for kids.
Yep.
I mean, in theaters in North America, I think they replaced it with that Pikachu's Vacation thing, which these two could not be any more different.
Yeah.
One's about Pokemon hanging out and having fun, and this is about existential crisis and kids dying, and yeah.
Yep.
And I can't even blame them for removing it.
Yeah.
And in a way, it's weird because it almost doesn't really make a difference. Because, I mean, they kind of went with the easy way out of, we erased his memory so he doesn't remember anyway.
Yeah.
Which I always hate when they do that, because when, it was all a dream, or they forgot everything.
Yeah.
Because it kind of makes everything you just saw kind of pointless.
Yeah. Yeah, because then it's yeah, what were you saying?
It is weird because even though it is kind of pointless, at the same time it's kind of not.
Yeah.
To make it so that even if he forgot it, it's still in him.
Yes.
It's still what motivates him in the actual movie.
Yeah.
Because he has that deep sadness. Fueling him.
Yes.
So I am kind of mixed on it, because on the one hand, they removed it, didn't make that much of a difference, but at the same time, if they had kept it in, it would have better explained that sadness he has.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, we would have had a better feeling for why he feels so empty inside and for why he's questioning his purpose so much, because he does still have the memories of Amber, and I guess just showing him what life, I guess, is, because she's describing the sun and the moon and the stars and, about, just how things go. So he still has I guess those subconscious memories of those events, and he knows just about life, but because he lost Amber and lost the memories of her, he can't put the pieces together as for why life is good, because Amber was showing him why life was wonderful, but as we see in the end, he questions but why is it wonderful? So yeah, I am I don't think there's anything outwardly bad about it, other than the fact that they went really dark in this. But they did it in a way that isn't like, I guess, traumatizing, if you can say that. Like the kids, like I feel like it's more so for the adults than I don't know. I'm not sure how exactly I want to say it, but I feel like they brought in this like this dark origin in a very good way. And like you said, it didn't matter anyway because they erased his memories, and so even though it was erased, like it still added to his character development. And I mean, that just leads into the good thing that I think about it, which is that it was well executed and it does provide further backstory, which is nice. And it links well, just I guess, with overall Mewtwo and what his motives are. So yeah, I think it's pretty good. I just really wish they would have kept it in because I don't think it would have been that bad, to be honest. So I don't know. What do you think, Mr. Wannabe Reviewer?
I don't know. I mean, we're kind of assuming that kids wouldn't be freaked out by it, though. So I don't know.
Yeah,
You're
you're
like,
right.
oh, it's not You're like, it's not traumatizing. You know, what I mean, I'm actually kind of just sitting here wondering if a 6-year-old kid who just wants to watch Pokemon would be like,
Yeah.
what the heck's happening?
Yeah, you're completely
Why that
right.
little girl die?
Yeah, you're
I don't know.
yeah, you're
I mean,
right.
it is well executed. It is well executed, and
Yeah.
like, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I'm just so mixed about it
Yeah.
because
I yeah, because you are right. Because I'm using my mindset as an adult, so I can't really grasp how a kid would react to this. So yeah, because like Amber did straight up die, and I feel like kids are smart enough to put two and two together and realize that, oh, she's dead. The Pokemon died. So yeah, yeah, maybe I don't know. Like you said,
maybe
mixed feelings.
it's fine the way we got it. Where I think it's like on the DVD
Yeah,
extra. I mean, maybe that's fine. I guess.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're not wrong. So, I guess with that, um, our overall opinion on this Mewtwo's origin, we have mixed feelings because it's definitely creepy and kind of like puts a lot on kids who just want to watch a movie about adorable Pokemon.
And
But
those scientists lack creativity, just adding two to the end of everyone's name.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Like,
Should
and
be ashamed of themselves.
yeah, and especially for like, I'm surprised that they put like Amber 2 because it's already been established that that is Amber's actual consciousness. So I'm not sure why they decided to put 2 at the end of it because that's not artificial. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Exactly, right. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but overall, it was well executed, well done. It gives proper insight into why Mewtwo felt empty, but it is probably for the best that they cut it out because, again, kids just want to watch Pokemon. So, with that, hopefully in the future there won't be like any other, I guess, like origin stories or prologues that we miss. If there is, feel free to let us know, and we'll do a review talk and analysis talking about it. So, if you're excited for the next movie review that we're gonna do, then I suggest following this series and what's gonna happen. Follow Wannabe Reviewer. He makes some amazing spoiler-free content and podcast every Friday, hopefully. And and yeah, with that, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next analysis. Bye.